Hello and welcome back to Brendan Moyer's Playwright Corner, where I read plays, poems, or whatever's currently striking my fancy at the moment. Today we're going to be reading another one of J.M. Synge's plays called Deirdre of the Sorrows, a play in 3 acts, written between 1907 and 1909. It would be the last play that Synge would ever write before his death, and would be finished eventually by his now widowed fiancée and W.B. Yeats. The persons of this play are Lowerchem, a wise woman and servant of Conchubar, about 50, old woman, cook and Deirdre's foster mother, Conchubar, High King of Ulster, about 60, Fergus, Conchubar's friend and warrior of the Red Branch of Ulster, Deirdre, Nishi, Deirdre's lover, Awinle and Arden, Owen, Conchubar's spy, and 2 soldiers. The first production was in Dublin on the 13th of January 1909. Lowerchem was performed by Sarah Allgood, The Old Woman by Eileen O'Doherty, Owen by J. A. O'Rourke, Conchubar by Arthur Sinclair, Fergus by Sidney J. Morgan, Deirdre by Marie O'Neill, Nishi by Fred O'Donovan, Awinle by J. M. Kerrigan, Arden by John Carrick, and 2 soldiers by Ambrose Power and Harry Young. Act 1. Lowerchem's house on Slieve Fua. There is a door to the inner room on the left and a door to the open air on the right. Window at back and a frame with a half-finished piece of tapestry. A high chair of state center stage with a stool near it. There are also a large press and heavy oak chest near the back wall. The place is neat and clean but bare. Lowerchem, a woman of 50, is working at tapestry frame. Old woman comes in from left. Old woman. She hasn't come yet, is it? And it falling to the night. Lowerchem. She has not. Concealing her anxiety. It's dark with the clouds are coming from the west and south, but it isn't later than the common. It's later, surely. I hear tell the sons of Wisna, Nishi and his brothers, are about chasing hares for 2 days or 3. And the same a while since when the moon was full. Lowerchem, more anxiously. The gods send they don't set eyes on her. With a sign of helplessness. Yet if they do itself, it wasn't my wish brought them or could send them away. Old woman, reprovingly. It was not. You do well to keep a check on her, and she turning a woman that was meant to be a queen. Who'd check her like was made to have her pleasure only? The way if there were no warnings told about her you'd see troubles coming when an old king is taking her, and she without a thought but for her beauty and to be stray in the hills. The gods helped a lot of us. Shouldn't she be well pleased getting the like of Conchubar, and he middling set in his years itself? I don't know what he wanted putting her in this wild place to be breaking her in, or putting myself to be roasting her suppers, and she with no patience for her food at all. She looks out. Is she coming from the glen? She is not, but whist. There's 2 men leaving the firs. It's Conchubar, and Fergus along with him. Conchubar will be a blues through this night and herself abroad. Lowerchem, settling room hastily. Are they close by? Old woman, crossing the stream. And there's herself on the hillside with a load of twigs. Will I run out and put her in order before they set eyes on her at all? You will not. Would you have him see you, and he a man will be jealous of hawk would fly between her and the rising sun? She looks out. Go up to the hearth, and be as busy as if you hadn't seen them at all. Old woman, sitting down and polishing vessels. There'll be trouble this night, for he should be in his tempers from the way he's stepping out, and he's swinging his hands. It'd be best of all maybe if he got his tempers with himself, and made an end quickly, for I'm a poor way before the pair of them. Going back to tapestry frame. There they are now at the door. Conchubar and Fergus come in. Conchubar and Fergus. The gods save you. Lowerchem, getting up and curtsying. The gods save and keep you kindly, and stand between you and all harm forever. Conchubar, looking around. Where is Deirdre? Lowerchem, trying to speak with indifference. Abroad upon Slieve Fua. She does be all times straying around and picking flowers or nuts or sticks itself. But so long as she's gathering new life, I've a right not to heed her. I'm thinking and she'd taken her will. Fergus talks to old woman. Conachar, stiffly. A night with thunder coming is no night to be abroad. Lower Kem, more uneasily. She's used to every track and pathway, and the lighting itself wouldn't let down its flame and singe the beauty of her like. Fergus, cheerfully. She's right, Conachar, and let ye sit down and take your ease. He takes a wallet from under his cloak. And I'll count out what we've brought, and put it in the presses within. He goes into the inner room with the old woman. Conachar, sitting down and looking about. Where are the mats and hangings of the silver skillets I sent up for Deirdre? Lower Kem. The mats and hangings are in this press, Conachar. She wouldn't wish to be soiling them, she said, running outen with the mud and grasses on her feet, and it raining since the night of salmon. The silver skillets and the gold cups we have beyond locked in the chest. Conachar. Bring them out and use them from this day. We'll do it, Conachar. Conachar, getting up and going to frame. Is this hers? Lower Kem, pleased to speak of it. It is, Conachar. I say there isn't her match at fancying figures and throwing purple upon crimson, and she edged them all times with her greens and gold. Conachar, a little uneasily. Is she keeping wise and busy since I passed before, and growing ready for her life and even? Lower Kem, dryly. That's questions will give small pleasure to yourself and me. She sits on a stool and faces him, making up her mind to speak out. If it's the truth I tell you, she's growing too wise to marry a big king and she is score only. Let you not be taking it bad, Conachar, but you'll get little good seeing her this night, for with all my talking it's will for her she's grown these 2 months of 3. Conachar, severely, but relieved things are no worse. Isn't it a poor thing that you're doing so little to school her to meet what is to come? Lower Kem. I'm after serving you 2 scores of years, and I'll tell you this night, Conachar, she'll little call to mind an old woman when she has the birds to school her, and the pools and the rivers where she goes bathing in the sun. I tell you, if you've seen her that time with her white skin and her red lips, and the blue water and the ferns about her, you'd know maybe, and you greedy itself, it wasn't for your like she was born at all. Conachar. It's little I heed for what she was born. She'll be my comrade, surely. He examines her workbox. Lower Kem, sinking into sadness again. I'm in dread. So they were right saying she'd bring destruction to the world. For it's a poor thing when you see a settled man putting the love he has for a young child, and the love he has for a full woman on a girl the like of her. And it's a poor thing, Conachar, to see a high king the way you are this day, prying after her needles and numbering her lines of thread. Conachar, getting up. Let ye not be talking too far, and you old itself. Walks across the room and back. Does she know the troubles are foretold? Lower Kem, in the tone of earlier talk. I'm after telling her one time or another, but I do as well be speaking to a lamb of 10 weeks in it race in the hills. It's not the dread of death or troubles that would tame her like. Conachar, looking out. She's coming now. And let you walk in and keep Fergus till I speak with her a while. Lower Kem, going left. If I'm after vexing you itself, it'd be best if you weren't talking her hasty as scolding her at all. Conachar, very stiffly. I've no call to. I'm very well pleased she's light and airy. Well pleased, is it? It's a queer thing the way the likes of me do be telling the truth and the wise are lying all times. She goes into room left. Conachar arranges himself before a mirror for a moment, then goes a little to the left and waits. Deirdre comes in poorly dressed with a little bag and a bundle of twigs in her arms. She's astonished for a moment when she sees Conachar, then she makes a curtsy to him and goes to the hearth without any embarrassment. Conachar. God save you, Deirdre. I have come up bringing you rings and jewels from even Vaha. Deirdre. The gods save you. Conachar. What have you brought from the hills? Deirdre, quite self-possessed. A bag of nuts and twigs for our fires at the dawn of day. Conachar, showing annoyance in spite of himself. And is that way you're picking up the matters will fit you to be the Queen of Ulster? Deirdre, made a little defiant by his tone. I have no wish to be a queen. Conahar, almost sneeringly. You'd wish to be dressing in your duns and greys? And you herding your geese or driving your calves to their shed, like the common lot scattered in the glens? Deirdre, very defiantly. I would not, Conahar. She goes to tapestry and begins to work. A girl born the way I'm born is more likely to wish for a mate who'd be her likeness. A man with his hair like a raven, maybe, and his skin like snow and his lips like blood spilt on it. Conahar sees his mistake, and after a moment takes a flattering tone, looking at her work. Whatever you wish. There's no queen but will be well pleased to have your skill at choosing colours and making pictures on the cloth. Looking closely. What is it you're figuring? Deirdre, deliberately. 3 young men, and they chasten in the green gap of a wood. Conahar, now almost pleading. It's soon you'll have dogs with silver chains to be chastened in the woods of Even. For I have white hounds rearing up for you and grey horses that I've chosen from the finest in Ulster and Britain and Gaul. Deirdre, unmoved as before. I've heard tell in Ulster and Britain and Gaul, Nishi and his brothers have no match and they chasten in the woods. Conahar, very gravely. Isn't it a strange thing you'd be talking of Nishi and his brothers, or figuring them either, when you know the things that are foretold about themselves and you? Yet you've little knowledge, and I do wrong taking it back when it'll be my share from this out to keep you the way you'll have little call to trouble for knowledge, or its want either. Yourself should be wise, surely. The like of me have a store of knowledge that's a weight and terror. It's for that we do choose out the like of yourselves that are young and glad only. I'm thinking you're gay and lively each day in the year. I don't know if that's true, Conahar. There are lonesome days and bad nights in this place like another. You should have as few sad days, I'm thinking, as I have glad and good ones. What does it has you that way, Conahar? Out of this place you hear the old woman saying a good child's as happy as a king. How would I be happy seeing age come on me each year, when the dry leaves are blowing back and forward at the gate of Even? And yet this last while I'm saying out when I'd see the firs breaking and the daws sitting 2 and 2 on ash trees by the duns of Even. Deirdre's a year nearer her full age when she'll be my mate and comrade. And then I'm glad, surely. Deirdre, almost to herself. I will not be your mate in Even. Conahar, not heeding her. It's there you'll be proud and happy. And you'll learn that if young men are great hunters, yet it's with the like of myself you'll find a knowledge of what is priceless in your own like. What we all need is a place as safe and splendid. And it's that you'll get in Even in 2 days or 3. 2 days? I have the rooms ready. And in a little while you'll be brought down there to be my queen, and the queen of the 5 parts of Ireland. Deirdre, standing up, frightened and pleading. I leave to stay this place, Conahar. Leave me this place when I'm well used to the tracks and pathways and the people of the glens. It's for this life I'm born, surely. You'll be happier and greater with myself in Even. It is I will be your comrade, and I will stand between you and the great troubles are foretold. I will not be your queen in Even when it's my pleasure to be having my freedom on the edges of the hills. It is my wish to have you quickly. And I'm sick and weary thinking of the day you'll be brought down to me and seeing you walking into my big empty halls. I made all sure to have you, and yet all said there's a fear in the back of my mind I'd miss you and have great troubles in the end. As for that, Deirdre, I'm praying you'll come quickly. And you may take the word of a man has no lies. You'll not find any other the like of what I'm bringing you in wilderness and confusion in my own mind. I cannot go, Conahar. Conahar, taking a triumphant tone. It is my pleasure to have you, and I, a man, is waiting a long while on the throne of Ulster. Wouldn't you liefer be my comrade growing up the like of Emer and Maeve, that to be in this place and you a child always? You don't know me, and you have little joy taking me, Conahar. I'm too long watching the days getting a great speed passing me by. I'm too long taking my will, and it's that way I'll be living always. Conahar, dryly. Call Fergus to come with me. This is your last night upon Slieve Fua. Leave me a short space longer, Conahar. Isn't it poor thing I should be hastening away when all these troubles are foretold? Leave me a year, Conahar. It isn't much I'm asking. It's much to have me 62 weeks waiting for your voice in Even. And you in this place grown lonesome and shy. I'm a right man and I've great love, and yet, Deirdre, I'm the King of Ulster. He gets up. I'll call Fergus, and we'll make even ready in the morning. He goes towards door on left. Deirdre, clinging to him. Do not call him Conchubar. Promise me a year of quiet. It's 1 year I'm asking only. You'd be asking a year next year, and the years that follow. Fergus! Fergus! To Deirdre. Young girls are slow always. It is their lovers that must say the word. Fergus! Deirdre springs away from him as Fergus comes in with Lower Kem and Old Woman. Conchubar to Fergus. There is a storm coming, and we best be going to our people when the night is young. Fergus, cheerfully. The gods shield you, Deirdre. To Conchubar. We're late already. It's no work the High King to be slipping on stepping stones and hilly pathways when the floods are rising with the rain. He helps Conchubar into his cloak. Conchubar, glad he has made his decision, to Lower Kem. Keep your rules a few days longer, and you'll be brought down to even. You and Deirdre are with you. Lower Kem, obediently. Your rules are always kept. Conchubar. The gods shield you. He goes out with Fergus. Old Woman bolts the door. Deirdre covers her face. Lower Kem, looking at Deirdre. Wasn't I saying you'd do it? You brought your marriage a sight nearer not heeding those are wiser than yourself. Deirdre, with agitation. It wasn't I did it. Will you take me from this place, Lower Kem, and keep me safe in the hills? He'd have us tracked in the half of a day, and then you'd be his queen in spite of you, and I and mine would be destroyed forever. Deirdre, terrified with the reality of what is before her. Or that none can go against Conchubar. Maeve Connaught only, and those that are her like. Would Fergus go against him? He would maybe in his temper roused. Would Nishi and his brothers? Lower Kem, impatiently. Let you not be dwelling on Nishi and his brothers. In the end, all there is none can go against Conchubar. And it's folly that we're talking. If any went against Conchubar, it's sorrows he'd earn in the shortening of his day of life. She turns away, and Deirdre stands up stiff with excitement, then goes to the window and looks out. Are the stepping stones flooding, Lower Kem? Will the night be stormy in the hills? Lower Kem, looking at her cautiously. The stepping stones are flooding, surely, and the night will be the worst I'm thinking we've seen these years gone by. Deirdre, tearing open the press and pulling out clothes and tapestries. Lay these mats and hangings by the windows, and at the tables for our feet, and take out the skillets of silver and the gold cups we have and our 2 flasks of wine. Lower Kem, what ails you? Deirdre, gathering up a dress. Lay them out quickly, Lower Kem. We've no call dawdling this night. Lay them out quickly. I'm going into the room to put on the rich dresses and jewels has been sent from Even. Lower Kem, putting on dresses at this hour and at dark and drenching with the weight of rain? Are you away with your head? Deirdre, gathering her things together with an outburst of excitement. I will dress like Emer and Dundalk, or Maeve in her house in Connaught. If Conchubar will make me a queen, I'll have the right of a queen who is a master, taking her own choice and making a stir to the edges of the seas. Lay out your mats and hangings where I stand this night and look about me. Lay out the skins of the rams of Connaught and the goats of the west. I'll put on my robes that are the thickest. I'll put on my robes that are the richest, for I will not be brought down to even as Cuan brings his horse to its yoke, or Conall Carnal puts his shield upon his arms. And maybe from this day I will turn the men of Ireland like a wind blowing on the heath. She goes into inner room. Lower Kem and Old Woman look at each other. Then the Old Woman goes over, looks in at Deirdre through the chink of the door, and then closes it carefully. She's thrown off the rags she had about her, and there she is in her skin, putting her hair in shiny twists. Is she a raven, Lower Kem? Or has she a good right turned into a queen like Maeve? Lower Kem, putting up hangings very anxiously. It's more than ravens in her mind, or I'm more astray, and yet she's as good right as any other, maybe, having her pleasure though she'd spoil the world. Old Woman, helping her. Be quick before she'll come back. Who'd have thought we'd run before her, and she's so quiet till tonight? Will the High King get the better of her, Lower Kem? If I was Conchubar, I wouldn't marry her like it all. Hang that by the window. That should please her, surely. When all's said, it's her like will be the masters till the ends of time. Old Woman, at the window. There's a mountain of blackness in the sky, and the greatest rain fallen has been these long years on the earth. God's help Conachar. He'll be a sorry man this night reaching his done, and he with all his spirits thinking of himself he'll be putting his arms round her in 2 days or 3. It's more than Conachar will be sick and sorry, I'm thinking, before this story is told to the end. Loud knocking on door at right. Lower Kim, startled. Who is that? Nishi, outside. Nishi and his brothers. Lower Kim. We are lonely women. What is it you're wanting in the blackness of night? We met a young girl in the woods who told us we might shelter this place if the rivers rose on the pathways and the floods gathered from the butt of the hills. Old woman claps her hands in horror. Lower Kim, with great alarm. You cannot come in. There is no one let in here and no young girl with us. Nishi. Let us in from the great storm. Let us in and we'll go further when the cloud will rise. Go round east to the shed and you'll have shelter. You cannot come in. Nishi, knocking loudly. Open the door or we will burst it. The door is shaken. Old woman, in a timid whisper. Let them in, and keep Deirdre in her room tonight. Owinle and Arden outside. Open! Open! Lower Kim to old woman. Go in and keep her. Old woman. I couldn't keep her. I've no hold on her. Go in yourself and I will free the door. I must stay and turn them out. She pulls her hair and cloak over her face. Go in and keep her. Old woman. The gods help us. She runs into inner room. Open! Lower Kim, opening the door. Come in then. And ill luck if you'll have it so. Nishi and Owinle and Arden come in and look around with astonishment. It's a rich man has this place and no hurt at all. Lower Kim, sitting down with her head half covered. It is not, and you'd best be going quickly. Nishi, hilariously, shaking rain from his clothes. When we've the pick of luck finding princely comfort in the darkness of the night. Some rich man of Ulster should come here and he chastened in the woods. May we drink? He takes up flask. Whose wine is this that we may drink his health? It's no one's that you've called to know. Nishi, pouring out wine for the 3. Your own health, then, and length of life. They drink. Lower Kim, very crossly. Your great boy is taking a welcome where it isn't given, and asking questions where you've no call to. What do you think of young men prying about and carrying tales? When I was a bit of a girl, the big men of Ulster had better manners, and they the like of you 3 selves in the top folly of youth. There'll be a great story to tell it in Tara, that Nishi is a tippler and stealer, and Owinle is a drawer of strangers' corks. Nishi, quite cheerfully, sitting down beside her. At your age you should know there are nights when a king like Conachar would spit upon his arm ring, and queens will stick their tongues out at the rising moon. We're that way this night, and it's not wine we're asking only. Where is the young girl told us we might shelter here? Asking me you'd be. We're decent people, and I wouldn't put you tracking a young girl, not if you gave me the gold clasp you have hanging on your coat. Nishi, giving it to her. Where is she? Lower Kim, in a confidential whisper, putting her hand on his arm. Let you walk back into the hills, and turn up by the second canoe scene where there are 3 together. You'll see a path running on the rocks, and you'll hear the dogs barking in the houses, and their noise will guide you till you come to a bit of cabin at the foot of an ash tree. It's there is a young lady and flighty girl that I'm thinking is the one you've seen. Nishi, hilariously. Here's health then to herself, and you. Arden, here's to the years you were young as she. Owinle, in a frightened whisper. Nishi. Nishi looks up, and Owinle beckons to him. He goes over, and Owinle points to something on the golden mug he holds in his hand. Nishi, looking at it in astonishment. This is the High King's. I see his mark on the rim. Does Conachar come lodging here? Lower Kim, jumping up with extreme annoyance. Who says it's Conachar's? How dare young fools the like of you come prying around, running the world into trouble for some slip of a girl? What brings you this place straying from even? Very bitterly. Though you think maybe young men can do their fill of foolery and there's none to blame them. Nishi, very soberly. Is the rain easing? Arden. The clouds are breaking. I can see Orion in the gap of the glen. Nishi, still cheerfully. Open the door and we'll go forward to the little cabin between the ash tree and the rocks. Lift the bolt and pull it. Deirdre comes in on left, royally dressed and very beautiful. She stands for a moment, and then as the door opens, she calls softly. Nishi. Do not leave me, Nishi. I am Deirdre of the Sorrows. Nishi, transfixed with amazement. And it is you who go around in the woods, making the thrushes bear a grudge against the heavens for the sweetness of your voice. Deirdre, it is with me you've spoken surely. To Lower Kem, an old woman. Take Owinla and Arden, these two princes, into the little hut where we eat, and serve them what is best and is sweetest. I have many things for Nishi only. Lower Kem, overawed by her tone. I will do it, and I ask their pardon I have fooled them here. Deirdre, to Owinla and Arden. Do not take it badly that I am asking you to walk into our hut for a little. You will have a supper that is cooked by the cook of Conchubar, and Lower Kem will tell you the stories of Maeve, and Nessa, and Rue. Owinla, we'll ask Lower Kem to tell us stories of yourself, and with that we'll be well pleased to be doing your wish. They all go out, except Deirdre and Nishi. Deirdre, sitting in the high chair in the centre for the first time. Come to this stool, Nishi, pointing to the stool. If it's low itself, the High King would sooner be on it this night than on the throne of even Vaha. Nishi, sitting down. You are Fedlimid's daughter that Conchubar has walled up from all the men of Ulster. Do many know what is foretold? That Deirdre will be the ruin of the sons of Uisna, and have a little grave by herself, and the story will be told forever. It's a long while men have been talking of Deirdre, the child who has all gifts, and the beauty that has no equal. And there are kings who give great price to be in my place this night, and you grown to a queen. It isn't many I'd call Nishi. I was in the woods at full moon and I heard a voice singing. Then I gathered up my skirts, and I ran on a little path I have on the verge of a rock, and I saw you pass by, underneath, in your crimson cloak singing a song, and you standing out beyond your brothers are called the Flower of Ireland. Nishi, in a low voice. It's for that you called us in the dusk? Deirdre, in a low voice also. Since that, Nishi, I have been one time the like of you looking for a lamb that had been taken away from her, and one time seeing new gold in the stars and a new face on the moon, and all times dread and even. Nishi, pulling himself together and beginning to draw back a little. Yet it should be a lonesome thing to be in this place, and you born for great company. Deirdre, softly. This night I have the best company in the whole world. Nishi, still a little formally. It's yourself is the best company, for when you're queen and even, you will have none to be your match or fellow. I will not be queen and even. Conchubar has made an oath you will surely. As for that, maybe I'm called Deirdre, the girl of many sorrows. She looks up at him. But it's a sweet life you and I could have, Nishi. It should be a sweet thing to have when it's best and the richest if it's for a short space only. Nishi, very distressed. And we've a short space only to be triumphant and brave. You must not go, Nishi, and lead me to the High King, a man as aging and as done with his crowds round him and his silver and gold. I will not live to be shut up and even. And wouldn't we do well paying Nishi with silence and a near death? She stands up and walks away from him. I'm a long while in the woods with my own self, and I'm in little dread of death, and it earned with riches would make the sun red with envy, and he goes up in the heavens, and the moon pale and lonesome, and she wasting away. She comes to him and puts her hand on his shoulders. Isn't it a small thing is foretold about the ruin of ourselves, Nishi? When all men have age coming and great ruin in the end. Yet it's a poor thing its eye should bring you to a tale of blood, and broken bodies in the filth of a grave. Wouldn't we do well to wait, Deirdre, and I each twilight meeting you on the side of the hills? Messengers are coming tomorrow morning, or the next morning to bring me down to Conchubar, to be his mate and even. Messengers are coming? Tomorrow morning, or the next surely. Then it isn't I will give your like to Conchubar. Not if the grave was dug to be my lodging when the week was by. He looks out. The stars are out, Deirdre. Let ye come with me quickly, for it is the stars will be our lamps many nights and we abroad in Alban, and taking our journeys among the little islands in the sea. There has never been the like of the joy we'll have, Deirdre, and you and I having our fill of love at the evening and morning till the sun is high. Deirdre, sinking on his shoulder, a little shaken by what has passed. And yet I'm in dread leaving this place where I have lived always. Won't I be lonesome? And I thinking on the little hill beyond the apple trees do be budding in the springtime by the post of the door? Won't I be in great dread to bring you destruction, Nishi? And you so happy and young? Are you thinking I go on living after this night, Deirdre? And you with Conchubar and even? Are you thinking I go after hares on the hillside when I've had your lips in my sight? Lowercam comes in as they cling to each other. Lowercam. Are you raving, Deirdre? Are you choosing this night to destroy the world? Deirdre, very deliberately, letting go of Nishi slowly. It's Conchubar has chosen this night, calling me to even. To Nishi. Bring in a winlet and Arden, and take me from this place where I'm in dread from this out of the footsteps of a hare passing. Nishi goes. Deirdre, clinging to Lowercam. Do not take it bad I'm going, Lowercam. It's you have been a good friend and given me great freedom and joy, and I living in sleep for, and maybe you'll be well pleased one day, saying you have nursed Deirdre. Lowercam, moved. It isn't I'll be well pleased, and I far away from you. Isn't it a hard thing you're doing? But who can help it? Birds go mating in the spring of the year, and use as the leaves fallen, but a young girl must have her lover in all courses of sun and moon. Will you go to even in the morning? I will not. I'll go to Brandon in the south, and in the course of a piece maybe I'll be sailing back and forward on the seas to be looking on your face, and the little ways you have that none can equal. Nishi comes back with a winla, and Arden, and old woman. Deirdre, taking Nishi's hand. My two brothers, I'm going with Nishi to Alban in the north, to face the troubles our foretold. Will you take word to Conchubar and even? A winla. We will go with you. Arden. We will be your servants and your huntsmen, Deirdre. It isn't one brother only of you three is brave and courteous. Will you wed us, Lowercam? You have the words and customs. Lowercam. I will not then. What would I want meddling in the ruin you will earn? Nishi. Let Awinla wed us. He has been with the wise men and he knows their ways. Awinla, joining their hands. By the sun and moon and the whole earth, I wed Deirdre to Nishi. He steps back and holds up his hands. May the air bless you, and water and the wind, the sea and all the hours of the sun and moon. Curtain.